and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you live from beautiful Budapest. I hope everybody is having a great week so far, staying healthy, staying strong, and looking forward to some pleasant days ahead. Students, we are focusing on IELTS reading in this class, some practice and strategy with a bit of a challenging part 3 or section 3 reading of the academic IELTS. Hi Amir, hi Sami, hi Nazir, hi Michael Fan, 4 of our members in a row saying hello. Hello back at you, nice to see the members. Eduardo, Shukidev, Kore, Divas, Karki, nice to see other students as well. This reading and these materials, they do come from our website, which is Academic IELTS Help. Please visit us there at aehelp.com for lots more materials. And for General IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have loads and loads of materials for you. Lots of it for free, some of it for paid, of course. This is the academic website here. Join the big red button for the premium package. Try it for free by clicking the green button. Now, if you want our general IELTS, same idea, green background, click the big red button to join the premium package, and you can try the basic demo package for free. So you can join us there. All right, students, we're going to do reading today. And if you have questions about our products or about classes, you can always send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. Tomorrow we'll do task 1 and task 2, and then on Saturday, questions and answers, speaking part 3. Now, let's get into today's reading passage. This is coming from book 2, test number 4, and it is the aesthetic merit of abstract art. Now, I bet for some of you, your first reaction is the aesthetic merit of what-am-a-who? What are you talking about? Okay. So what does this mean? What is the abstract, or what is the aesthetic merit of abstract art? When you get into a reading topic like this one, what should you do? What should be your first reaction? Okay, so that's a question to you. And I'm curious what your answer is here. So when you turn the page in your reading section and suddenly see a challenging topic like the aesthetic merit of abstract art, what should you do? Should you throw the exam, run away and cry? Or what should you do? Okay. All right, what should you do? Sewak says, what? Charlie Sen says, beauty of abstract art. Musafir says, something about modern art. Charlie says, start visualizing the passage and guessing the passage. Okay. Sammy says, start to visualize it and understand it. Abhishek says, maybe it's the name of the artist and the painter. Nazir says, visualize. Yeah, visualization is definitely a good idea. So visualize the information as much as possible. So that's a good step. Let's see if you come up with some other ones here. So this is, again, what we're looking at here, the aesthetic merit of abstract art. Okay. Rano says, maybe try to guess the meaning. But how do we do that, Rano? Akram Kulova, Rano. How do I do that? How do I guess it? Okay. So instead of guess, let's use a little bit of a better word. So predict and infer the meaning of the passage by what? By looking at the picture. Yeah, so Sammy says try to figure it out from the picture, right? Highlighting keywords here is probably not going to help you too much, but maybe a little bit. So predict and infer the meaning of the passage by looking at the picture that's given. Okay, absolutely. All right. And use your own experience. Okay, so here we are. Let's do that. So the aesthetic merit of abstract art. Here we have a picture. What is this a picture of? Okay, so start asking questions. That's definitely a good step. Rano says from context maybe. Yeah, absolutely, Rano. Context will help to reveal it. Okay, maybe the questions will help as well. Let's look at the picture and let's ask ourselves a simple question. First of all, don't panic, focus, right? What am I looking at? So Musafir says it's a blue mosaic modern painting. Sure. Andy John says it's a crystal. Okay. Tamir Khan says this chat looks like a great fandom of Adrian. All right, Tamir Khan, thanks for that. Rangana says it's some kind of complex art. Okay. Charlie says it depends on the viewer's mind. Very good, Charlie. You drew an important conclusion there. So here, starting to ask questions is a really good idea. Okay. So the first question I'd ask is, what am I looking at? Maybe a blue mosaic. Okay. Perhaps an ocean, the sky. At the end of the day, I can say, I'm not really sure. Okay. Good. So now, I want to ask myself some more questions, okay? Like, where have I seen this type of art? Okay? Other than this IELTS lesson. So if you ask yourself that, where have I seen this type of art? Then what would you answer to that? So if you ask yourself that question, where have I seen this kind of art? What would you answer to that? So Ferry Zobek says in galleries, in movies, in museums of modern art. Absolutely. Okay. Now, the next question I would ask myself here, and of course, these questions are coming really quickly in my mind. So again, I'm staying focused. I'm finding interest in this topic, even if art is not my thing. It's not my cup of tea. I'm in the IELTS exam. My goal isn't to learn about art. My goal isn't to love art suddenly, but my goal is to get a high band score in the reading section. So I have to make myself like art for this passage and think about it. So thinking about it with good questions, okay? Questions, that's what scientists do. That's what researchers do, is they learn to ask good questions. And they start from themselves when they can't start from anywhere else. So what did I think about this art when I saw it? Okay, so Nazir says it's eye-catching. Okay. Safa Barber says it's intangible. Yeah, so we can't understand it. Yeah, that's actually another word for abstract, Safa. I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like it's worthless. I'm sure some abstract artists would not be happy to hear that, but or it's overpriced. if any of you have seen this kind of art and you saw that it cost $10,000, you're probably thinking, I wouldn't pay $10,000 for that, but okay. So I'm sure I'm not the only one that's had that feeling. Okay. Selema says confused. Yeah. Okay. So good. Those are all some really good responses. Okay. Some of you says meaningful. All right. Yeah, absolutely. So those are all really good responses. So now, if you wrote an essay about it, so you get to this question, and this is a good question to ask. If I had to write an essay about this type of art, what kind of information would I include? Okay, so if you wrote an essay, so this is what you're asking yourself. If you wrote an essay, and this is why good logic can really help you understand the passage, even with lots of difficult words and ideas. If you can create the same kind of ideas in your head as the writer did for the IELTS exam, then you can come to the same ideas and same points. So what would you include about this type of art if you wrote an essay on it? Okay. So the social message to the community by art. So the message, keep it simple, don't overcomplicate it. So the message that is communicated by the art. Yeah, absolutely. You're definitely on the right path there. Sammy says the hidden meaning of art. These are all really great ideas. Osama says the history and the development of this kind of art. Okay. Hina says the theme or the background to this kind of art. Marina says the value of this kind of art. Very good. Versus other art. Brilliant, students. So that's what you want to do, okay? So using good critical thinking, good questions and answers within your own mind is a fantastic strategy to quickly develop ideas that you're likely going to read in the passage. Remember this tip and this strategy when you prime your mind, okay? It's called priming. You have a much better chance of understanding the passage and the questions. So you will get more answers correct. Okay. You can't, well, it's not impossible, but it's very difficult to just do this automatically without practice, okay? And there's still a lot of good answers coming up. That's great. So prime your mind, okay? So we're doing a lot of priming here, priming, okay? And that's what you want to do, especially when you have a difficult passage like this one, okay? Now, after you do that, so after you read this, you think about it, you look at this, you realize, okay, that's abstract art, some kind of modern art. Merit means value. Aesthetic means beauty, okay? So the beauty, value of abstract art. At home, you should define it, okay? Beauty, value of abstract art. After you do that, take a look at the questions, okay? Those might be able to help you a little bit, all right? So here we go. Reading passage 1 has 7 paragraphs, A to G. Which paragraph contains the following information? So this question, you have to match the information to the correct paragraph. Now, students, keep in mind that skimming and scanning, especially for passage 3 in the academic or section 3 in the general does not work, especially for these most difficult parts of the reading section. So keep that in mind, okay? And I'll show you why in 2 seconds here. So tip, in most cases, skimming or scanning is the least effective for passage 3, academic, and if for those general IELTS students, section 3 for general, because of the types of questions and the level of paraphrasing. Okay, so even if the passage looks difficult, you're still better to read it than to try to skim or scan for it. This type of question, which paragraph contains the following information? Let's say that the first one here, the rejection of old rules of art, is at the end of the passage. So you're going to skim read the whole passage to maybe figure out that this is in the last paragraph. And then this one suddenly is in the middle. So now you have to re-skim read half of the passage to figure this one out. And this one comes also at the end. So now you skim read almost the whole passage again to maybe figure this one out. No, that's just silly, okay? That's a horrible way to finish the reading section. And then now you have to begin the writing section after doing this like terrible skimming, scanning strategy for passage 3. So don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Use more effective strategies, which we will use today. Okay, so here, just read these. All of this information is somewhere in the passage. Okay, all of this information is somewhere in the passage. So you can read this type of question. Okay. So here we go, 27, the rejection of old rules of art. 28, different kinds of aesthetic value. 29, two competing arguments about the value of abstract art. Ambiguity itself provides part of the aesthetic experience. The mysterious nature of abstract art. Aesthetic value is up to the viewer. Okay, I understood some of that. Some of that was a little bit unclear. Whatever. I don't need to understand all of that right now. That's fine. Multiple choice. In multiple choice, I only read the statement, not the choices. There's too much confusing information there. So, what makes abstract art different from classical art? Okay, all right. A common critique of abstract art is that it lacks something. Why is it important to note that aesthetic merit not be solely reserved for the sublime? By the way, for those of you who are unsure of what aesthetic means, it means beauty. Okay, it's the concept or the idea of beauty. All right. Okay, next one. Let me get rid of the scribble here. While realist works of art explicitly show their meanings, abstract works of art do what? Okay. Now you can definitely try to paraphrase these as Sammy is suggesting while you're reading these. And then of course here we have true, false, not given. True, false, not given, again, we don't worry about those until the end. There's too much confusing information there, so we're not going to look at that. Okay. All right. Let's get back to now the reading. So we have some ideas. From the questions, I got that we're going to discuss the value of this art as I thought about it. We're going to discuss comparison, different people's opinion about this kind of art. So that's similar to what I was thinking when I looked at the title and the picture. So that's good because that means that my thinking and my logic is in line with the writers, which is good. Okay. All right. So let's go through this and let's see how much of this we can understand. All right. here we go. So this is a reading class, students, so make sure to read and repeat, okay? Or sorry, just read aloud is what I meant to say. So read aloud, read so I can, well, hopefully imaginary hear you reading with me, okay? All right, here we go. Everybody can see the letters okay. My feedback screen's a bit blurry, but that could be because of the stream being almost in real time with very little latency. It's minimum latency. Can everybody see the letters okay on your end? I just want to make sure that it's clear. Yeah. All right, cool. So you can read it. My feedback screen, I can't read it, but it's good if you can read it. All right, so here we go, students. We're going to practice some active reading. That's right, Bakari, absolutely. And we're going to start with the introduction. And here we go. Read with me, okay? Abstract art is notorious for its apparent lack of artistic skill, meaning, and value. While its harshest critics believe that abstract art is not art at all, many art connoisseurs feel that abstract art is an aesthetically pleasing expression of the human condition. This article will discuss both sides of the issue and present arguments for and against the aesthetic merit of abstract art. Okay, cool. So now, of course, this is my strategy here is active reading. Okay. And in active reading, I check what I read. So I ask, what did I understand from the introductory paragraph? Okay. So what did I understand from this paragraph? Okay. T. Homira is asking, can we find the correct answers in the first sentence? Sometimes, sometimes not, T. Homira. So you can lose a lot of time checking that, especially for the introduction and the conclusion. But if you're looking at the topic sentence, you can sometimes, T. Homira. Okay. So Nazir says that we are given the background and the thesis here, and you're absolutely right, Nazir. And what did we understand from the background? I don't think it gives us the definition of art, Bhumi. Okay. Priya says there's a comparison that's presented there. Yeah, definitely. Okay, Jiwan says aesthetic art doesn't really have meaning. It depends on our mindset. Okay. So... Dark Mewtwo says the passage is basically going to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of abstract art. Not quite the advantages, disadvantages, although you're close. It will explain the value and the lack of value. So the two views on abstract art, right? And a lot of you hopefully got that much out of the introduction. So the introduction explains two opposing views of abstract art. One, that it has value. The other, that it has no value. And this passage discusses both. So that's what you should have gotten out of that introduction, okay? That there's two views, one that says, yeah, abstract art's all right. The other one that says, abstract art is nothing. And we'll discuss both, all right? As long as you got that much, you can still get at least half of your scores or marks on this passage, as long as you're picking up the kind of main information that's going on here, okay? Now, in the introduction, definitely you want to pay much more attention not just to the first sentence, but of course to the thesis. The article will discuss both sides and present arguments for and against the beauty value of abstract art. Okay, let's keep going a little bit with this kind of active reading. So abstract art, and again, students, read with me, okay, read with me. So abstract art, by definition, does not follow the rules of reality. Until the late 19th century, artists had more or less stuck to the notion of art as representations of reality. Artists such as Gainsborough and Rembrandt followed the rules of reality with regards to light, perspective, physics, and logic. Abstract artists like Jackson Pollock rejected these supposed rules of painting. Instead, Pollock made his own rules or rejected rules entirely. The aesthetic value of works such as Pollock's, that is to say, the ability for works like his to elicit pleasure when viewed, is the point at stake in this discussion. Okay, so what is this first body paragraph about? What's the answer to that question? So what are we reading here? Musafir says abstract art is a representation. Musafir, it's the opposite. Reject means to not do. So abstract art is not a representation of reality. Okay. Tai Pham says it's the definition, but what is that definition, Tai Pham? Okay. So Erkin says it's abstract art versus reality. I don't think it's quite accurate, but it's close. You do want to be accurate with your answers to these questions for active reading. Okay. Rangana says abstract art is against tradition. Okay, students, I think you're overthinking it. Careful not to overthink. IELTS isn't, it's not supposed to be that demanding of your deep thought. How can I say this? So you don't have to overthink it. So when I read this, what I pay attention to is abstract art does not follow rules of reality. Okay? Rejects rules entirely. All right? So the question is, okay, the ability for works like his to elicit pleasure when viewed. Okay, so those are the key elements of this paragraph. So it rejects the traditional rules of art, and the question is, when you do that, when an artist does that, so when an artist doesn't paint reality, is it able to create a feeling of happiness or sadness or some kind of feeling? Okay, so that's the main element or elements in this body one paragraph, right? So abstract art rejects the rules of traditional art and does not show reality. So can it create emotion? Okay, so that's what it's about. Now, when you're doing this active reading, of course, don't forget your visualization. Okay, so when you're visualizing helps to create a log of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in your mind. Okay, so when we're looking at this, this is the introduction. It's 1. This is body 1. It's paragraph 2. So paragraph 1, paragraph 2. Visually, I have a person here, okay, and I have another person here, okay, and this person says thumbs up, and this person says thumbs down for this abstract art. So I'm visualizing they're arguing with each other. Okay, so thumbs up, thumbs down. This one here, I'm also visualizing where the rules are being broken. Okay, so the artist is breaking the painting. All right, and we each visualize in our own way. This guy that says thumbs up is breaking the rules of painting. All right, so you're visualizing this. Visualization helps to keep a log in your mind. All right. Shirojidin says, it looks like aliens. Maybe they are. Aliens debating art. They have some weird thumbs as well, but it doesn't matter. Okay. So keep a visual cue. Turn this kind of abstract information into visible information so you can hold the information in your mind. Okay. And of course, with practice, this is very effective and happens very quickly in real time. Okay, it's a part of your active reading. Okay, let's keep going. So we'll do more of this verbally now. Here we go. Read with me. Again, read with me. C. On one hand, some critics feel that abstract art is facile, silly, and indulgent. It is, on their account, a perfect example of the kind of art snobbery that the outside world finds so distasteful. Looking at a canvas covered in blue paint, we are meant to see something, perhaps jealousy, perhaps the depth of human emotion, perhaps the bleakness of the human condition. But for many people, they merely see a blue rectangle. It is not mere lack of imagination, however, that gives viewers the impression that the artwork lacks aesthetic merit. Many critics who have a keen eye for good art feel that many works of abstract art lack aesthetic merit. A common argument against these artworks is that they lack skill. Artwork by Rembrandt and Gainsborough are unambiguously works of profound skill. These artists committed their lifetimes to their craft, and it shows in the virtuosity of their works. All right, so what is this paragraph about? This paragraph is about people who are against abstract art. Why are they against it? So this is all you need to get from paragraph C, okay? So what is it about? People against. So my guy pointing his thumb down, my alien, according to Shirojidin, pointing his thumb down, that's this alien's paragraph, pointing it down, because this alien is saying that people who paint abstract art are like babies and don't have any skills. That's right, Natalie. So lack of skills. So this paragraph says, hey, abstract art, it's for people who want to put their noses high in the air, snobbery. They just need something else to entertain them. There's really no value there, and it doesn't need any actual skill. Okay? Has no meaning, no skill. All right. So as long as you got that, you're doing good. Okay, let's keep going. Here we go. Paragraph D. Read with me. It is important to note, however, that aesthetic merit must not solely be reserved for the sublime. In comparing Rembrandt to an abstract artist such as Pollock, one must realize there are many kinds of aesthetic merit. For example, there is the aesthetic merit in a sunset, in a beautiful sculpture, in a symphony, or even in a well-composed meal. So if aesthetic merit is represented in manyfold ways, it is possible that abstract art satisfies at least one of those criteria. Many critics say yes. Okay? So what is this paragraph about? What is paragraph D, my fourth paragraph, about? So it's the alien that's giving the thumbs up, that's saying, hey, this is good. Yeah, it's exactly, Sammy. It's positive. And what's positive about it? So what's the argument on the positive side here? This is the alien with the thumbs up saying, that's got value. Look, finish my sentence. If something's got value, then why not abstract art? So there's something very important here in this paragraph. It easily and clearly describes it. So it can be beautiful. Why can it be beautiful? Very good, Natalie. Yeah. So don't look too deep, students. Sometimes students, when they see these kinds of difficult passages with lots of new vocabulary, they think that the information is really difficult too, but it's actually not as bad as you think. It's on the surface. So here, It says, well, hey, look, if there's a beautiful sunset, a beautiful sculpture, beautiful music, symphony, or beautiful food, then why not beautiful art, right? Can it not be abstract art in this case? Okay, so different kinds of beauty. So this one says, hey, there's different kinds of beauty, so abstract art could be beautiful. All right, let's keep going. And that's all you need to get. That's all you need to know. You don't need to understand every word. Okay, here we go. Let's keep reading. The value of abstract art lies, for some critics, in its mystery. Whereas realist artworks simply show and tell their meaning, the meaning of abstract works is hidden behind a veil of ambiguity. Perhaps the artist has intended meaning, perhaps the artist does not. Additionally, the meaning for one person may be different than the meaning for another person. The key is that the painting does have meaning. But is meaning the same as aesthetic merit? Arguably not. Words have meaning, for example, but lack aesthetic merit. However, one might say for a painting or other artwork to have meaning is precisely for it to have aesthetic merit. So, what is this paragraph saying? Is it pro? Is it con? What is it saying about abstract art? Again, keep it simple. Put it together in a concise kind of way of what you get from paragraph E, from the 5th paragraph. So Divas, you have half of the answer. It's definitely pro Bhumi. I agree. Divas says perception of the art differs from person to person, and this is part of the beauty of abstract art, right, Divas? So finish the idea. The different perceptions of people and the mystery of abstract art is beautiful. Very good, Andy Jun. Andy Jun says the mystery is the beauty of abstract art. Very good. Yeah, that's what you should get from that. Mystery of abstract art is beautiful. All right, let's keep going. Perhaps the real answer... Oh, and actually, before we do that, here we do see that meaning is mentioned a few times. Meaning and meaning and meaning. So meaning for art maybe also is a part of beauty. Okay, so that was in there. Very good, Jainil. You got that. Different meanings for different people, and having meaning could be the beauty of abstract art. All right, F. Perhaps the real answer to the debate is that whether an object has aesthetic merit or not is up to the viewer. An object can have aesthetic merit for one person, but lack it for another person. So in this sense, abstract art is neither meritorious nor the opposite. Instead, it is whatever the viewer thinks it is. On this account, if a person finds an abstract work of art aesthetically pleasing, then the artwork is aesthetically pleasing for him or her. If not, then it is not. Okay? What is this paragraph about? Tai Pham, very good. So Tai Pham now is doing active reading quickly while reading, already thinking about the what, why, how ideas. And Tai Pham says, the answer depends on the person who's viewing the art. Okay? Shirojidin says it's what you think and what you see in it. Annie Dejan agrees. It's personal choice. Very good. So it's another perspective on this value of art. Okay, so it's not that bad. And again, once you get interested in it and go through these steps, you'll do okay. All right? Okay, so here we go. Last paragraph. So this answer, however, will not satisfy some readers who desire a clear answer to the debate in question. For such readers, it is important to point out that ambiguity is inherent in all art. In fact, ambiguity is part of the aesthetic experience itself. So the fact that there is no clear answer forthcoming to the aesthetic merit of abstract art is not surprising. It is the nature of art to lack crystal clarity in order to invite interpretation and meditation, which are critical parts of the very aesthetic experience in question. Ooh, that's really philosophical. What is that conclusion saying? Again, as simple as possible, and whatever you understood from that. So what is that conclusion saying? Okay, you do see this word ambiguity. Okay, learn this word. Ambiguous means unclear. Okay, so it's not clear. It's not 100%. Okay, so what is that saying? Priya says it's still debatable whether there's, yeah, absolutely, Priya, that's in there, that the debate has no clear answer. Musafir says it changes from person to person, yeah. Yeah, Ice, very good. So Ice got that. Ice says ambiguity is in all art, and that's part of the beauty. So we'll never really have a clear answer to this question, is what this writer's saying, because that's, interestingly, a part of it. Okay? Very good. All right, so one really important fact that I want to point out here to many students who are going to write the IELTS exam is notice that when, especially for those of you who started from the beginning, when we were looking at this title and we were looking at this picture, a lot of you were probably going, oh boy, this is going to be fun, and maybe getting a little bit annoyed and discouraged and frustrated. Like, really? In the IELTS, I might get a passage like this? And I'm sure many of you who sat the IELTS before were thinking, yeah, actually, I saw this kind of a passage in my past exam. So what I want to emphasize here is when you see this kind of a title, don't panic, don't freak out, don't think I have no idea about art, or don't think I don't care about art at all anyway. But remember your goal. You're there to get a high band score. Stay focused, go through the steps, use the strategies that you're learning in these classes or on our websites, apply them, and you can still do really well. Okay, find interest. Is that clear? So the mentality or the mindset, the way that you're thinking when you get to this kind of a passage in the IELTS can really have a huge impact on your band score. Okay, so don't freak out. Okay, don't get nervous. Don't get discouraged. All right, just go through the steps. Go through the steps. All right, that's so important. Thanks, Sammy, for reflecting on what I'm saying there. I am looking for that. Thank you, Divas. Abhishek, Natalie. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So now let's look at some of these questions. So going back, so here, which paragraph contains the following information? So we had A, B, C, D, E, F, G paragraphs, right? A to G. And some letters you can use more than once, so some of these might be talking about the same paragraph. Okay, let's do these together. Now, if you did a good job of active reading and visualizing, you should be able to answer these quite quickly. Okay, so let's start with 27. The rejections of old rules of art. You should get that no problem. We should not have to read for that if you were in the class the whole time. So number one here, what was it? B. Yeah, remember my broken painting? Absolutely. Okay. All right, good. Let's see how well you were all visualizing. The different kinds of aesthetic value. Which one was that? So there we were talking about the food, the statues, the sunset. Hopefully many of you visualized that one. I sure did. Okay. So this one here. Different kinds of aesthetic value. I can answer that one without reading again, because I remember that it was two guys arguing, aliens, Shirojidin, aliens arguing, then the broken artwork, right? Then in paragraph C, it was actually the guy talking negative, bad about art, and it was in D where it was food, statues, yeah. So if you saw that, you should be able to get D. But I bet most of you know roughly where it was. And you, even if you don't know the exact paragraph, you know that you're looking for that food, the statue, and all that fun information. And you find it here. Sunset, sculpture. And here's an example where if you're just skim reading the beginning, the first sentence, you won't find it because this information is in the middle. Okay? This one's in the middle. So you won't find it if you're just skim reading the first sentences. So careful, that really doesn't work in these third passages. Okay, 29, the two competing arguments about the value of abstract art. I bet you can answer that one really quickly for me. So you'll notice that when you do good thinking and you follow these steps, the answers become much faster. Okay, so the two competing arguments. Shiro Jidin, please, if you're in the class, help us out here. You got to remember this one, right? You even made a comment about it. Very good, Natalie. Yeah, very good, Farizobek. Very good, Sammy. Yeah, Kurush. Very nice. Yeah, absolutely. It's A, right? It's those two aliens arguing with each other. Don't overcomplicate. When you see it, answer it. Okay, that's all you have to do. It's A. Absolutely. Okay. Number 30, ambiguity itself provides part of the aesthetic experience. So not knowing the meaning is part of the beauty. This one should be fairly easy as well. So, Tamarkon's having a great laugh. It's great. Yeah, Shirojidin, there you are. Okay. All right. So this one, I think this one will be quite straightforward as well. Very good, Patel. Absolutely. Gee, we just read it, right? Not knowing. I was like, nah, we don't know. Yeah, Natalie, very good, last. Natalie, if it's the last, you don't have to search for it because remember, it's in the question here. So A to G. So you know that first is A, last is G. Everything is in between. Okay? Yeah, so G, absolutely. Very good. So notice how that works. We take out the main ideas. 31, the mysterious nature of abstract art. You can probably get that one as well. Okay, because I remember the thumbs up, thumbs down paragraphs here. And I remember I only actually saw one real thumbs down, which was paragraph C, right? So after that, yeah, very nice. Look at all you students getting that correctly. Absolutely, E, right? Paragraph E was the one that followed D. So D was breaking the rule, or sorry, B was breaking the rules. D was the first thumbs up about the different kinds of value of art. And then E was the one that was like, well, and it's mysterious and it's kind of fun, right? So hopefully you visualize that as well. So very good. Look at how well a lot of you are doing. Fantastic. Okay, and the last one, aesthetic value is up to the viewer. 32, I bet for those of you who are on a roll, you'll probably get this very last one right as well. So 32, aesthetic value is up to the person who is looking at the painting. Very nice. There you go. F. Yeah, that was the one where it's like, well, it's kind of up to you, right? Okay. So F it was. Absolutely. So no repetition in this one. Sometimes there is repetition. Sometimes there's not. Okay. It says you may use any letter more than once. In this case, we don't. So B, D, A, G, E, and F. And in fact, there's no C paragraph here, right? Lots of paragraphs. So that's why all the differences. Okay. Good job, students. Good job. Good job. And again, I mean, in the real IELTS exam, you can take a quick look. But if you think it's paragraph B, if you're like, okay, I'm like 95% sure, right? Then all you have to do now is just quickly take a look because it's not a giant projection like it is for me, but it's a small piece of paper. So you can quickly take a look and go, yep, there it is. Next one. Yeah. And answer it first and then look. So you're like D, and then you're like, okay, I'm like 98% sure. So you're like, okay, that's good. Next one. It's going to be fast. Okay. So Tamer Khan says, yeah, it's easy to answer with you. Sure. But again, it's because of practice, right? So if you're practicing this, it'll become just as easy for you. We've had so many IELTS students that at first are like, oh, this is hard. When I do it by myself, it never works. And then 2 weeks later, after they do it like 5 or 10 times, then they're like, yeah, it's a breeze. I'm getting like 9 out of 10 correct. Okay, so of course, the ancient saying, practice makes perfect, right? but it's definitely the right strategy for this kind of question. Okay. Shaikh says, I'm practicing, sir. I'm practicing. Very good, Shaikh, and you're going to see the results. I guarantee it. Shirojidin, I don't recommend jotting down ideas. It's too much time. Just practice mentally, actively reading and answering questions like we did for the second half, and it'll be fine. Okay. All right. Let's go on to some more questions here. So multiple choice. Don't look at the answers. Okay. Just look at the question for multiple choice. What makes abstract art different from classical art? And again, when you visualize this, you should be able to get it. So what makes it different? And give your own answer. So that's a strategy for multiple choice, is answer your own first and then match. So your answer. Okay, your answer. What makes abstract art different from classical art? Very good, Natalie. Very good, Kurush. Very good, Jainil. Charlie breaks the rules, doesn't follow rules. No rules. No rules. You can almost hear that song. No more rules, okay? Any one of these ones match? So which one matches? Okay, that's your, so this is your step one, your answer. Step two, match it. If you can't match it, something's off. Okay, then you have to look more. Okay, B, yeah, okay. Doesn't follow logic. That's not true. Stick with the rules. It does not follow classical art rules. That's clearly said. This is not clearly said. This is, if you're choosing this one, you're putting information from your own mind into the answer. Always choose the answer that's clearly said. It's clearly said in the passage that it does not follow classical art rules. So the correct answer is B. Okay? It's B. All right, so same thing with the next question. Okay? 34. A common critique of abstract art is that it lacks what? So according to what you read, what's the answer there? What does it lack? It's not skill, or sorry, it's not imagination. I just gave you the answer. It's not imagination, Ais, so much. Yeah, Charlie, it's skill, right? Boomy, it's skill. It's good. I think some of you actually wrote that before I said it. So it lacks skill, right? One of the paragraphs says that with the guy that's putting his fingers down. He's like, you can be like a baby and make abstract art, right? So according to the passage, is it imagination? Is it classical laws of physics? The bleakness, or is it skill? It's D. Yeah, D. Okay? It lacks skill. Skill. It's clearly said in the passage, lacks skill. All right, very good. All right, 35. Why is it important to note that aesthetic merit not be solely reserved for the sublime? So why is it important to say that, hey, lots of things are beautiful? What's the answer to that? So what's the answer to the question of why is it important that a lot of different types of beauty exist in the world? Yeah, Shirojidin, very good. It's basically saying, hey, everything can potentially be beautiful depending on the viewer, right? Again, students, you don't need to see the text. So what I'm telling you here is that for multiple choice, a bad strategy is trying to figure out the answer from the choices. The good strategy is thinking about the answer and then matching it with the choices. Okay? So there's more than one kind of aesthetic merit. Aesthetic merit is reserved for experts. Sorry, let's go down here. Aesthetic merit is reserved for experts. There's aesthetic merit in a sunset. Abstract art may have additional meanings. A, B, C, or D is the closest match. Andy, Ferizobek, absolutely A, right? There's more than one kind of aesthetic merit. That's the closest match, right? That's the important point that's being made here. Very good. So again, students, careful. If you're staring at the choices, then that's the bad strategy. You don't want to look at the choices. You want to look at the question. Your answer first. Okay? Then match. Okay? If you're staring at answers, hoping to get the right one, that's bad. Okay? So while realist works of art explicitly show their meaning, abstract works of art do what? So real works of art, they show their meaning. Abstract works of art do what? What do? What's your answer? Not the letter, but your answer. What's your answer? Classical works of arts, they show the meaning. So what do? Yeah, very good, Andy. They're ambiguous. Yeah, they have a hidden value, Andy. Yeah, they're ambiguous. They're not clear. Okay, good. So which one of these is the closest to that? Tell their meaning, hide the meaning from the artist, disambiguate the meaning, obscure their meaning. What do you think is the closest match here for ambiguous meaning? Now, it is a passage 3, so it's a bit tricky, but it's there. The correct answer is D. Dun, 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 dun. Surprise. Careful, students. Hide the meaning is okay, but not from the artist. Okay, the artist knows the meaning, right? That'd be insane if the artist didn't know what they mean, okay? Obscure means to hide or to make ambiguous. Now, you can figure that out because tell their meaning, it's not true. Hide the meaning from the artist is not true. Dis, meaning not, ambiguate, is not true. So by deduction, you can figure out that obscure means to hide. So that's another way to figure that out, right? Is what's called a process of deduction. But that is not the most effective process. So start by giving your own answer. All right, students, we're going to stop there for today. I'm going to leave the true, false, not given for another time. For those of you who have our exam books, you can, of course, do that later. And for those of you who don't, there's a lot of true, false, not given videos on our channel as well. I'm out of time for this class, but you can catch me tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll have a task 2 finish for members and a task 1 diagram class or chart class for everyone. Again, if you like this class, you want to see more, subscribe to the channel, become a member. You can also get our premium package at aehelp.com for academic IELTS, and for general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com. You can also grab our apps from your app stores, Academic IELTS Help or General IELTS Help, and definitely improve through using that software. Thank you so much, everyone, for sticking through this challenging class. Hopefully you got a lot of valuable strategy and information from that. Ferizobek, you're very welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying those. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Much love to all of you. Signing out from Budapest.